the career guidance program organized by the Department of Computer Science. So this career guidance program, what is the objective of this program is? So this program is going to give you the glimpse of how to get into the IT industry. So what are the skills to be developed to get into IT industry, and what are the opportunities available in the industry. So it is going to be shared by our resource person, and I thank our management principal for arranging this such a wonderful career guidance program for the final years of Department of Computer Science. Now I request our HOD, Dr. N. Edison Ratnam sir, to welcome the gathering.
Good morning, students. Good morning. On behalf of our Computer Science Department, we welcome all of you for this career guidance program. I welcome the resource person, Mr. Senpagarajan sir. He is Senior Project Manager from Infosys. I think we will have a brief introduction about him. On behalf of our department, we are welcoming you, sir. On behalf of our department, we welcome our principal ma'am. In spite of his busy schedules, he is with us. So I think I welcome all the final years. This year, the K.C.S. so far they have not opened. I think lot of opportunities in IT field. I think sir will explain all the things. You have to build your career. That's why we are writing career development program, guidance program. On behalf of our department, we welcome all of you for this program.
Thank you for your warm welcome, sir. Now I request our principal ma'am to address the gathering.
A pleasant morning. And special thanks to our college, to our management, to our secretary sir, and the Department of Computer Science, and to our resource person who is here today to give you such an opportunity to move towards your future. So, actually, when I was just thinking about today's program, it is actually the success story that is going to be written. So you have various episodes of it. Your career success has various episodes, and usually when it's a movie, till the interval it will be a little boring, isn't it? And it will pick up speed after the interval, and the final climax would be really good, isn't it? So same way, your school life is part of your career. So that was your first episode. Then you have stepped into your higher education. So your second episode. So you can go for further studies, or you can step into your future career as an IT professional, isn't it? So that's going to be the climax. And as I said, climax will always be very good. We don't want tragedies. We want it to be interesting. Your future should be successful. And you all know that IT industry really pays you well. Yes? And most of you, like your future will lift your entire family. Many of our students have stepped into the IT field, and many of them are abroad. So sir, having come from France, he will be able to guide you even to step into a career abroad. So it's not just that you have to stick to India, you can go all around the world, come out successfully. So you are going to use your education for your future. So don't take life lightly. A few more months for you to come out with flying colors. Think about your future. Don't just think that friends are enough, having fun, growing your hair, having a small beard, all that is not your career. Yes? Be smart, be fit. You can make out, just looking at sir also, a senior professional from an IT field. Do you see him with this bird's nest? Do you? Purida? Kuruvi kudu mari mudi vechirukavangala? Adhe IT industry da. That's your future. Other than the edirpaakra. So try and mold yourself towards a successful future. And special thanks again to our college management and to the Department of Computer Science. And I'm sure the director of your story for today is your resource person. So the script writing, all that, he is going to do it for you. So you are going to act it out for the success. So I'm sure you will come out successfully. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you for your guidance and support, ma'am. Now I request our principal, ma'am, to present a memento to our resource person. Thank you, ma'am. Now I request Mrs. R. Padma Devi, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science, to introduce our resource person.
Good morning to another present here. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce our resource person, Mr. Shanbhadarajan Ganwat, Senior Project Manager, Infosys, Francis. He did his schooling in K.C.S. Higher Secondary School, completed his BE Electrical and Electronics. He is working in Infosys for past 20 years. He had played the roles like software engineer, programmer analyst, technology lead, project manager, and senior project manager. Mr. Shanbhadarajan has led nearly 50 projects so far. Sir is in an on-site project in France for past 5 years, and currently he is in India and now for the client meet. He is skilled in global delivery, large-scale application transition, legacy application modernization, cloud migration, IT strategy, and other methodologies. Strong program and project management professional. I request our resource person to address the guest.
Thank you, ma'am. So now it's time for our resource person.
Hello. It's okay. Students are able to hear me? So before I start, thank you K.C.S. Kasanagar College Management for inviting me here, and then thank you Shobha Edward ma'am and Edison Ratnam sir for having me here, and Shanmugavali, my cousin, and all the supporting staff for welcoming me here. Okay. So for you, I prepared some slides. So I had like very little time, but I put some bullet points. But before I start, so I understand that you're all like final year BSc computer science students and BCA final year students. So if you have any like an iota of doubt, a single doubt, what is the future of IT in India? There are like, you might be hearing news about recession in US and Europe. So if you have any single doubt, just clear your mind. IT still has a very strong future. Okay. So the global demand for Indian IT talents, day by day it's increasing, because US countries and European countries, Australia, wherever you go, there are like serious shortage of talents, IT talents. And there are like a lot of things happening on IT, because enterprises are building many e-commerce portals, online portals, mobile applications. They are trying to move their applications to cloud. So there is like a lot of demand for IT talent. And for the whole world, India is kind of the, what do you call it, a resource bound, which have like a lot of good talents. So don't worry, if you're still thinking you have chosen the right career path or not, IT still has a great future. So I wanted to start with this positive note. And so basically today's agenda is for a few minutes I'll be talking about me. I'll be sharing my story because I am from this locality. I was born and brought up in this locality. My schooling was here and I went my college from here. So I wanted to share my story. And then, so right now as your staff explained, I'm a senior project manager in Infosys. I joined Infosys January 2003. And in a month, I will be completing 20 years in Infosys. Okay, and so my base location is Chennai Infosys. And after I joined Infosys, in a year, I was sent to UK. So in IT industry, in 1 year traveling to foreign countries, it's not like very usual. So I'll share some tips in IT industry, what my management saw in me. So they sent me like very soon to 9 locations. And from 2004 to 2015, I was more working for UK clients, mainly London. So I made like 10 or 12 trips to UK. And then, so 5 years back, there was a big transition project. So basically, there is a big shipping company. So I am right now working for a third largest shipping company in the world, CMA CGM. You might have seen a lot of containers even in our Raipuram ports. So I'm working for them. And previously, the application support was with another vendor. And Infosys won a deal to like transform some 1,200 IT talents from the other vendor to Infosys. So the client was okay to give the project to Infosys, and they were looking for some senior people. So that is why my management in Infosys asked me to join the France project. Otherwise, I was predominantly working for UK customers. Okay, and I've spent like almost like 7-8 years in London, and for the last 5 years I'm in France. Okay. So this is currently like about my experience in Infosys, and as again like your staff explained, I studied in K.C.S. and as I said, I was born and brought up here, and I studied like the second group, computer science group, and I will tell you what are like some points which put me in the IT industry. So when I finished my 10th, it's like I was one of the top scorers in 10th. So typically those days, if you are a top scorer, you typically take the biology group, the first group where you have an option to go to a medicine or engineering. Okay, and I had like no guidance, and I had my close friend, okay, and he scored a 10 or 12 marks more than me. So he first went for admission, and then he came out of the admission room and he said, hey Shinbagarajan, I have taken computer science group, you also should take second group, don't go for biology. Okay, I had like, I was just like fourth in line for the admission room. I had no idea, so my best friend said, so I told. Okay, so then I asked him, where did you force me to take the second group, because all of our friends are in the first group. So he said, no, my brothers are working abroad and in North India. They are saying IT is the future, so everybody is going for medicine. So let's try for computer science, second group. Okay, so that is the first kind of trigger point which was leading me towards IT industry. Then in my school, they selected a set of students, and so again around the Raipuram area there is a Soil Biology Institute in our area who do like free training in like computers and like other languages, and my school sent me there, and that is where like I learned about basic programming, EDAs, those kinds of like programming languages like EDAs, box space and stuff. So I had the basics of programming. Then I finished my plus 2 in K.C.S. Then I was passionate to join BE Computer Science. So that was my only goal. I said I will join BE Computer Science. I learn a lot. I try to excel in IT industry. Okay. Then by fate, I scored less in mathematics in plus 2, and my engineering entrance exam score was like relatively okay. But in Chennai, I couldn't get BE Computer Science in any of the colleges. Okay, so BE Computer Science was somewhere like outside Chennai or somewhere like in very far away colleges. And my parents said, no, you are not going to go outside Chennai. You find whatever course you get in Chennai. Okay. So in fact, I studied BE Electrical and Electronics Engineering. Okay, so you guys are like studying for 3 years, proper IT courses, you are learning about programming languages and concepts of computer science. But for me, I was an electrical and electronics engineer. Okay. That is where kind of like second helping hand or a second kind of guide came into my life. So I had a very close friend in college. He is like a computer geek. Okay, so he knows Linux very well, and he's part of like many open source software organizations. So, so he was talking to me and he said, okay, what are you going to do after graduating? So I said I will try to find like some job in an electrical company or some government company. I was telling you. Am I audible or no? Yeah, please be like interactive. If you're not able to hear, the guy in the last was saying is able to hear. So, and in the discussion, he understood my passion towards IT industry. Then he said that, hey, you've done computer science in your school, and why don't you, like in parallel, start studying programming languages? I said, I'm an electrical engineer. How I'm going to learn about like programming? Then he gave me a couple of books, and then he asked me to come to his house during weekends. And one of our uncle had a computer. So he said, you have to install this software to learn about programming. And believe it or not, in the 4 years, before I completed my engineering in electrical and electronics, I was very strong in Unix operating system. I know the basic commands of Unix. And I was very strong in C programming language. Okay? So it's not only about studying. So this is one of the important facts, because like a language, like an English language, so English language, you can read, you can write, but unless and until you start talking to others, you have to continuously talk. You cannot achieve proficiency in any language overnight. So you have to build it day by day, 3 months, 6 months, and in 1 year, you can be proficient in any language. And computer languages are very similar. So you are reading it, and in your exams you are writing it, but unless and until you continuously do hands-on. So I think these days you guys are having laptop and computers in home, so you have the necessary operating system, and the softwares are all open source now. So you have to do a lot of hands-on programming. So these are little things I will cover in upcoming slides. So when employers are trying to recruit you as a fresher or an experienced professional, what they look for, I will cover these items. But one thing is, you have to be seriously hands-on. Just reading and just scoring marks in exam, it doesn't help. For freshers, it's okay, but more when like down the line, when you're getting experience, you have to upskill. But any skill you upskill, you have to do hands-on. Okay, so those are the things that I'll be covering in the upcoming slide. So what I was trying to say is, though I was my core engineering department was something, due to my passion in IT industry, I learned Unix and C, and it's like after graduating, there was that time IT industry, there was a slowdown. There was a recession in US and stock market issues and stuff. And what happened is, for 6 months, here there used to be a internet center, Raga's internet center. I think it's still there. I used to be the, so I used to take care of the internet center. So morning I used to open the internet center, I used to clean the internet center, I used to set up the computer. So basically, you guys know about internet cafe, right? Even these days you have internet cafes. You will go to a browsing center to check your mails or do something if you don't have internet connection at your home. So for 6 months I was working in that internet connection, internet browsing center in the same area. And during those 6 months also, so my elder cousin, Shanmugavali's elder sister, so she asked me to take some maths tuition for her students, commerce students. So I used to do that for 6 months. Then I was preparing for my master's in electrical and electronics. I was trying for IIT MS. So that is what I was doing. And that is where my friends told me, okay, now you have to start applying for IT companies like the KCS, Infosys, CTS. So they gave me some email IDs. So my daily job was whenever I opened the browsing center, I would first log in into my Yahoo mail and I would send an email to Infosys. So it's like I am an electrical engineer, I'm passionate about IT industry, no arrears, this is my percentage. So I used to regularly send, and suddenly in a month I got a response from Infosys saying, okay, you have your aptitude test on this date. So it was like I had like 15 days time. So you have to come to New College to take the aptitude test. So then I don't know what is aptitude test. I checked with my friends. So they said you have to study these books, Shakuntala Devi, and there was like George H. Summers. They suggested me 2 books. So basically, so one thing, in all the big companies, okay, so after you join 2 or 3 years later, you have to go to the client location. Okay. So there are some rules in US, Europe, and other Western countries. When an Indian company is sending a talent to offshore, they expect like 4 years course in English. Okay. You might be wondering in the past why big companies were going for only engineering graduates. They don't go for arts and science. Okay. This is one reason. Because you guys do a 3 years course, right? So you're short by 1 year. So that is why I also recommend, even if you join some companies, it's better to do a master's, even like remotely. Nowadays you can do masters, like you can work and do some post graduation, right? That is one thing I recommend also to all of you, since you're from the arts and science. So you do only 3 years course. Okay. Sorry, where was coming from? 4 years. Yeah, so 4 years. And then, so this is what many of the big companies are looking for. So I was explaining about how I got like into like abroad in 1 year, right? So I was applying for this Infosys, and then they got a call. I was reading this aptitude. I was reading this Shakuntala Devi and George S. So what for freshers? What they test is, because we are not from IT department. How these big companies select a non-IT person into an IT industry? Okay. So they check for your aptitude. So your problem-solving skills. So they used to give some problems. Okay, there is a cube which is painted pink. If I cut into like 36 pieces, how many pieces will have 3 sides of pink or 2 sides of pink? So that is how they recruit you. So they take engineering graduates first. They go to all the engineering colleges and the colleges like your colleges, they take everybody. And they test your problem solving skills first. So they filter out the sharp students out of it. So I think even now you have this, I don't know, you guys know, right? Even now you have this aptitude test. You know or not? Yeah, so many of the, so let's say a company is coming to your college, so they keep an open exam. It's an open forum. Anybody can walk in and attend. So that is how they filter. They check your score first, but for IT industry, the key thing is they check your problem solving skills. Okay. So I went to New College, and it's like there were a lot of people, thousands of people, and I was surprised I got selected. So that is kind of a self-awareness to me. I have a good aptitude. Okay. So the next step, so this part is easy. If you're good in mathematics, if you're good in algebra, or you guys are solving many mathematical problems, right? So this is like relatively easy. But the second step is in-person interview. Okay. So it's all like I was just thinking. I was telling in 10th standard a friend guided me, and in college another friend guided me. And when I went into Infosys interview, they asked again some aptitude questions, and they asked some questions in my electrical and electronics. But next thing they asked is, okay, do you know any IT programming languages? Okay. So I said, yeah, I know Unix operating system and C programming language also. So then they said, okay, what is the syntax for this in C? How do you write this command in Unix? And then they asked me to write a simple program. Okay. And later I found out, so 1 month later I got an offer letter from Infosys. So that was like completely changed my life forever, because I was looking for a small job in an electrical company. And many of my top students in my college, they were trying for IT, but they were not getting. But when I got the offer letter, I was very surprised. My friends were all surprised. They congratulated. And after that, my life entirely changed. Okay, so this 20 years I was just explaining. So what I'm trying to tell you is, after I joined Infosys, when I saw my batch mates, it was all like IIT or like the GCT, all government colleges, and even in private colleges, they were like top private colleges. And I studied in Kanduveli Engineering College in OMR. So I was wondering how they selected kind of a student from little bit a college which has no visibility. So in summary, the point is, for employers, it doesn't matter where you come from, which college, or which city, or what schooling you did, what is your UG percentage, it doesn't matter. So they check you for two things: your problem solving skills, aptitude, and then how strong you are in basics in programming. These are the two major things they check. For them, it doesn't matter. Okay. So those days we used to have on-campus and off-campus. So on-campus, what they do, they come to colleges, they generally take top students and go. And off-campus is like a open competition. You send your resume and they call you for this aptitude test. You can go and take it. And that is where this is how they filter. So they find people with good aptitude and then they call for in-person interview. Okay. So in this, so I just explained how I prepared myself for getting into IT industry. So from whatever we have spoken so far, in summary, the key things are programming, you have to be hands-on. Okay. Focus on your communication, because English is now becoming very, very important in IT industry. And even though you're good in programming, your management, in IT industry, your management also check your communication skills. So communication, it doesn't mean like you have to be very fluent in communication. Communication also means, from whatever proficiency in English you have to be very clear. Okay. You have to be very confident. People don't check for your grammar or your vocabulary or something. Even experienced people in Infosys, their vocabulary is not good, their proficiency level is not good. But you have to be clear in communication. You have to be very confident. See, I know work for French client. Okay, even they don't know English. It's just a language. They struggle a lot in talking in English. Before Infosys came, they said they had all the meetings in French. But now, after Infosys has taken over this project, there is a general rule saying Infosys people talk English, so you have to start talking English. Even they struggle talking in English. So it's not like you have to be very proficient in English to succeed. But whatever your vocabulary or proficiency level, you have to be clear, slow, confident. The communication is also very, very important. You have to focus when you are planning to move to the IT industry. Okay, I think I pretty much covered about my experience in IT industry, and I think we'll move on to the next slide. So how much time we have? We have 25. Okay, so I want this slide to be a little bit interactive, because I don't know the curriculum of, as I said, I studied electrical and electronics engineering. I seriously don't know the curriculum of any computer science, undergrad education. But I have prepared some points. Okay. So when I joined Infosys, you see the top points, standard service lines. So what is the IT service? Can anybody answer? We are talking about Infosys IT company, K.C.S company, right? So what company it is? Do you know what kind of IT things they do? Anybody can answer? Don't worry. It's like even if you're wrong, just try to answer. What do they do? What do they do?
Sir, making a decision easier.
Sorry?
Making a business decisions easier for the foreign companies.
Business decisions?
For foreign companies. For example, the Infosys company used to make a business entity is very easier. Business supporting.
Okay, so basically your point is they help businesses to make some decisions easier. No, but what is their basic job? For example, Ford manufactures cars, right? GE manufactures electrical equipment. What does Infosys do? Sorry? So basically, if you read newspapers or news, all our IT companies, they are called like service industry. IT companies come in a service industry. Okay. So service, what is a service? So you buy a car, it has a problem. What do? You call customer service, right? Saying I have a problem with my car, can you come and do some repair? Okay. So a company, a third party is providing you a service. The service is repair of your car. So all these IT companies are IT service providers. Okay. So basically somebody in US or Europe is building a car. Okay. So what is a car they are building? Google.com is a car. Okay. Google.com is an internet website, right? You have to do some programming, you have to deploy it in some server, and you have to make it visible in internet. Yahoo, Amazon, you guys are buying things in Amazon, right? Flipkart, that is a car that some business is building. Okay, and what kind of service it needs? So to build a car, you need somebody who knows how to build a car, correct? So for all these businesses to build an IT application, they need somebody who know programming. That is these companies. So Infosys, K.C.S, CTS, what do they have? They have programmers, they have architects, they have people. So somebody was telling about business. So I think I've captured this. So they have some business analysts. Okay. So basically, client will say, I want to build an application where you can make bookings for flight. Okay, this will be a online requirement. And from Infosys, a business analyst will go. You will ask, okay, this requirement is very high level. You will ask 1,000 questions and make the requirement more detailed. Okay, this is a kind of a service Infosys gives. Okay, client has some requirement, we call it business requirement. It will be mostly 1 or 2 lines. But how do you convert a business requirement into a detailed requirement? That is the job of the business analyst. Okay. And then architecture and design, basically so these architects, what they do, they define the technology. Okay, so this application you have to build in Java or .NET, or you have to go for an e-commerce product, ready-made product, and whether you have to host it in on-premise or cloud. You know the difference between on-premise and cloud? What is the difference between on-premise and cloud? Infrastructure. So what is the difference between on-premise infrastructure and cloud infrastructure? Anybody can try to answer? So I will be covering cloud also a little bit down the line. But okay, don't worry if you don't know about this. These are like, once you gain some level of experience in IT industry, you will come to know about these clouds and stuff. But for a quick clarification, so you guys build some application, right? You do some programs. You will deploy it in a server, correct? If that server is in your own data center, so basically let's say I am Amazon, I have my own server, so the CPU box is there, right? That is where your application runs. If I have the CPU in my office, it is on premise. But if I have that CPU somewhere remotely in the internet, somebody else is managing that infrastructure, that is called cloud. This is when people talk about cloud, it is nothing but your CPU, your resources are somewhere in the internet. It is not in your office. Somebody else is giving you, like again, somebody is giving you a service, infrastructure service. You don't need to have the server in your house. Okay. So I was talking about the business analysis service, solution architecture and design. Then application and infrastructure development, maintenance and support. So this third line is kind of the bread and butter of most of the IT companies. Okay. So where like you will mostly fall into this category because most of you will be like experts in programming and you will go into development. So this is like kind of the bread and butter of all the IT companies. This is the core service they provide. Basically, when I say development, you are building a car, you are building a new application using Java language or .NET language. And what is maintenance? Again, related to your example of a car. So you buy a new car, you have to change oil for that car, you have to wash that car. So that is kind of the maintenance. And support is like when the application goes down, suddenly you will hear it in the news. WhatsApp went down for 1 hour, Amazon went down for 1 hour. It means something went wrong. So the software is not available over internet for all the customers. So all our, all the IT experts like us, we pitch in, we see what is the problem. We add more server, we add more CPU, or if there is a big performance issue in the application, we fix it. So that is development, maintenance and support. This is the kind of the core service which all the IT companies provide, even if they don't provide any other services. This is what they provide. And testing, software testing is also one of the core services all the testing provide. So in testing, you have different kinds of testing. Functional testing, for example, again, you deliver a car to the customer will drive and say, oh, this car is, brake is having a problem. So it will raise a lot of defects, right? That is what testers do. That is a functional testing. But you also have things like security testing, where they test whether somebody can hack your system or not. And then you have performance testing. They test whether your application responds faster or not. So we call it ADM, Application Development Maintenance Support. ADM services and testing are the core services in all the IT companies. And then COTS. You know what is COTS? It's called like commercial off-the-shelf product. So basically, so there are like, for example, you want to build a Ola app, okay? So these days you don't have to write code and try to build a new Ola or Uber app. Okay? If that app is not readily available with somebody, you can just buy it and you can start your own business. So Oracle is a COTS product. So if you want a database, you just go to Oracle, give me a database, they'll give you a software, you just click, install. That is the commercial officer. And SAP is also mostly used in like HR and many finance departments to be used. Okay. So all the above service lines are there in the IT industry for a long time. But the bottom ones are like things which are emerging these days, because I see these kind of service lines are coming into my company as well. Because I was talking about cloud. Cloud, I don't know, have you heard about Amazon Cloud, Amazon Web Services? AWS. So AWS provides cloud service. I don't know how many of you know the history of AWS. So what that Jeff Bezos did, he was building the Amazon website. Okay, he was actually, his primary intention was to build the Amazon website. Okay, and he needed a lot of infrastructure. A lot of infrastructure means he needed a lot of servers, a lot of CPU. And when his website became very popular, every day 1 million, 2 million, 3 million people started logging into his website, and his website started went down. So then he defined a architecture. So scalable, we call it scalable infrastructure. So today 1 million people are logging into your application. You have, let's say, 100 servers. Tomorrow, let's say there is a mobile sale going on in Amazon. Then 2 million people are logging in. Then on the fly, how do you had 100 servers? Right. So in the older time, people used to physically insert hardware like hard disks into some rack, and then they had capacity. But he developed an infrastructure solution which will on the fly. So you will define, if my traffic is 1 million, 100 servers should be there. But if your traffic suddenly goes to 2 million, 5 million, you can just configure it saying you increase the server count to 1000 automatically, no manual intervention. Okay. So he built a solution for his own website, Amazon website. Then he thought, okay, it's a good business. If I have this problem, all the online applications will be having the same problem. So what he did, he started selling it as Amazon Web Services, the solution. So basically, tomorrow you are starting a business, you need some 50 servers to run your application. You can just buy an account with him, and he will give you all the servers. You don't even have to buy anything. It will be somewhere remotely in the internet. You are running a business in Delhi, but your server could be even in Delhi or Mumbai, anywhere in India or anywhere in the world. That is what is cloud, okay? And even my company is building a lot of center of excellence, experts in cloud. And DevOps, so previously what used to happen, developers used to build the application, and we used to hand it over to the support team. After it goes live to public, we will focus on the next development. Support team will be focusing on supporting this application. So these two teams, so that is what dev is for development team, ops is for operations team, the support team. Previously those two teams were like working independently, but this DevOps brings them together. So the support team will closely get involved during development itself, and specialist programmers. You see, somebody was explaining my experience, right, in Infosys, my roles, and they told I was a software engineer for some years, and then I was a programmer analyst for some years. I was a technology lead. Then I became a project manager and senior project manager. Okay, so in the previous world, it was like that. You will be a developer, lead developer for some time, then you will go to project management, program management, things like that. But if you look at US and Europe, you will have developers who have like 20-25 years experience. For their entire lifetime, they will be developers. They will retire as developers. We did not have such kind of roles in India. But now there are like specialist programmer roles coming, who is very passionate only about programming. He is not interested in project management or other things, architecture. You can be a developer for your life. So those kind of roles are also now coming into IT industry. And AI and ML, it's called artificial intelligence and machine learning. So these two tracks are also now like getting a lot of attention. Many customers want AI solution and machine learning solution, because these solutions remove manual intervention. So one thing I was telling, right, even in cloud, when the traffic in your website suddenly increases from 1 million to 2 million, automatically 100 servers are added. No human is going and adding the server. That is the AI solution. So the infrastructure solution AWS automatically monitors for your traffic. Based on your traffic, it adds 100 servers. This is one simple example of how AI works. And machine language, one example is, nowadays if you go to many e-commerce websites, Flipkart, Amazon, you will see a chat button. Okay, it will ask you, how can I help you? You'll say, I want to buy a mobile phone, and it will automatically respond to you, which brand you want, Apple or Samsung. Okay, actually these are machines, bots. There is no human sitting behind the computer and responding to you. Okay, and it automatically improves its own knowledge. So there are some set of rules defined. So these bots develop, they become intelligent. we configure the rules. So they understand the question, they try to answer as much as possible, because this reduces the IT cost for the company. You use software and machines where a human has to do a job, right? So the software cost is less than human resource cost. And data science is something like, so I said I work for a shipping company. So let's say flight. Okay, there are some websites called Skyscanner. Okay, if you go to that and you search for, I want to take a flight between Chennai and Mumbai. Okay, so it will give you some 100 websites where the price is the best price. So it will give it in ascending order. If you take this airline, the flight is only 3,000 rupees. You take another. So basically, what that Skyscanner website does, it picks up data from different websites and it applies its own logic for best price, shortest route, and it presents it to the customer. Okay. So this is a very simple example, but data science actually means everybody wants data. For example, in your WhatsApp, if you message your friend, hi friend, I want an Apple iPhone. You message in WhatsApp to your friend. Okay, if you go to Facebook, you will see an advertisement for iPhone in your profile. Okay, because your data is being used in the background. It's all encrypted, but even in encrypted text, there are algorithms that work. Okay, because WhatsApp reads your encrypted data, because they know the encryption for Apple iPhone, and they know you have spoken about Apple iPhone. Then WhatsApp now, Facebook has bought WhatsApp, so they show an advertisement of iPhone in your Facebook. Okay, and they will show iPhone to your friends also. That kind of field is now very advanced. So data is very valuable. Any customer data, people use it for marketing in different platforms. Okay. So these are some of the emerging service lines. So just again, I finish this slide. How we started? I started asking question: what is Infosys, KCS? What are these companies? These companies are IT service providers for some business. Yeah. And what are the services we provide? We provide business analysis, architecture and design, development, maintenance, support, testing, okay. And then these are emerging services that we provide. Clear? Okay, we'll move on to the next slide. Yeah, this I will cover quickly. You know about these development methodologies? Yeah, so I will quickly cover in the interest of time. So waterfall is typically, let's say I'm building an application. For 3 months I will do development and unit testing. Okay, until that time, a tester will not come into picture at all. And the tester will be writing test cases to test the application. Then after 3 months I will say, okay, I have completed my development and unit testing. Now you can start testing. Okay, then the tester will test the application for 2 months. He will raise defects in your application and you will rework. You will fix a lot of defects. Then after all this testing is completed, we will give it to the customer for user acceptance testing. We call it UAT. Okay, UAT will go on for 2 months. Then when business says, okay, this application works as per my requirements, they will sign off UAT. After that, we will do performance testing, security testing. We call it pre-production testing. Then after that, it goes into production. So net to net, in old times, if you are developing a new application, it takes 1 year to go live. Okay, so you look at these American or European business, so they spend 1 million. They have to wait for 1 year for that application to go live. Okay, that is where this agile development methodology. So in agile development methodology, many of these pain points were addressed. So the requirements will be very small. Okay. So for example, if you are building a Flipkart website or a shipping website, first what they will do, they will quickly go live. They will go live with login, and then they will go live with something like a routing finder. You search for Chennai and Mumbai, it will just display routes. So this is what we call it as like MVP, minimum viable product. So they will bring small features and try to go live in 4 weeks, 6 weeks instead of waiting for 1 year to go live. So if you reduce your development cycle, your testing cycle also reduces. Covers SIT, integration testing, user acceptance testing. So why I am talking about this is I thought it is important because now most of the businesses are moving towards agile development methodology. Okay, and to achieve agile development methodology, because you have a very short time of development, so you have to test also in very short time. So in the next slide, I am covering what are the key aspects of agile development methodology. Good. Yeah, we are going back. Yeah. So this is what I was talking about. Sprint is nothing but that 1 year goal. You will break it into 2 weeks goal. So you will say, in 2 weeks, I will build the landing page of the website. If you access Amazon.com, the home page I will build in 2 weeks. Then in another 2 weeks, you will say, I will build the login functionality. You will have a user ID password, right? I will build the login functionality of the website. You will have shorter goals and try to achieve it. And CCD, the expansion of CCD is continuous integration and continuous delivery. Continuous integration and continuous delivery. What is continuous integration? So I told, right, you will develop a code and then you will do unit testing and somebody will do functional testing, somebody will do integration testing, somebody will do performance and customer will do user acceptance. All this testing were manual. Okay, even build was manual. You guys know about Maven build scripts and scripts. When you write a Java code, you have to build it, right? You have to convert the ASCII to a binary file. You will build a jar file, correct? That is called building the package. So all these were manual, but for Agile, you need to have all these things automated. Automation is very key in Agile. Okay. So for example, I work for a UK client. A developer will just write the code and check in into source. You know about Git repository or SVN source code where you will maintain. Git. So somebody was telling. So Git is a technology and GitHub is a version of Git. And now we have cloud versions of Git also. So you write your code and check in Git. And what it will do, there is a tool called Jenkins. It is called a continuous integration tool. It will integrate build script, testing script, everything. So as soon as you check in the code, it will automatically run all the scripts, testing scripts, and then it will say, okay, all the testing is passed, and it will also call the deployment script. Okay, so for .NET applications we use things like Excel deploy, and for Java technology. So basically, you have to deploy your code into your server, right? So Java programs, which application server you use? You heard about Tomcat or JBoss server? .NET applications you deployed in IAS application server. Okay. All these things you have to learn. See, at the end I will cover some points for you. So basically for Agile, again to recap, the main goal of Agile development methodology is business don't want to wait 1 year, 2 years for some of their application to go live. Go live means available to public. Like Amazon.com, you are now all able to access over the internet, right? For that to be available in public, they don't want to wait 1 or 2 years. That is where they are going for Agile development, where they build small requirements and try to go live incrementally, which is a win-win situation for them. Okay, so you have to read about Agile development methodology. Okay, let me go to the next slide. We'll back again. So this, anyway, I think a little bit covered in the beginning of the session itself. So skill, so basically what employers look for. Okay, this is applicable for both freshers as well as experienced people. Like for freshers also, like I told, you have an in-person interview. You have to clear some aptitude exams, then you will go for in-person interview. So skill breadth is, let's say you are a Java developer. Okay, so breadth is this, depth is vertical. Okay, so in a software development life cycle or in an application architecture, you have UI. In the UI, you will have JavaScript. Okay, and in the service layer, you will have your main Java programs running, APIs or services. Then at the back end, you will have the database. So this is the three-tier architecture. Typically, most of the MVC architecture, you will have a front, a model like view, and then you will have view and model. Then you will have a controller, which is the service layer. Then you have the database. Okay. So when I say skill breadth, you know about UI, JavaScript, AngularJS, Node.js, these things also. Then you know Java programming also. Then you know Oracle SQL also. So your breadth is good. What is depth? Depth is you take Java programming and then you go deeper. Okay, you just don't stop with basic programming. You go to annotations or dependency injection, whatever is the latest Java also you have read PDK 1 to now we are like PDK 8 or 19 I think. So when the Java development kit is evolving, you also keep you like upskill. Okay. So you take Java, it means whatever is the latest development in Java, you know. That is the depth. Breadth is you know multiple technologies. Okay. So breadth is important. You have to know front end, middle layer, and back end. But depth is what they look for more. The breadth also you have. But if you are a very strong developer in Java or .NET, or if you are a very strong developer in Angular, HTML, CSS, the successful of you getting recruited is very high. The success rate is very high if you have a strong depth. Because in interview, typically what happens, like I said, it doesn't matter from which college you come or what is your pass percentage, nothing. It's all what is the question interviewer is asking, what are you answering? Okay, that is what I can relate it to my example. They were a little bit surprised. This guy is an electrical and electronics engineer. He knows so much in C. So he's a definitely passionate guy in IT industry. So let's take it. That is what they took. That is my belief. Okay. So you need to have a strong depth. And any technology, you take HTML also, you have to be a very advanced programmer, CSS, style sheets. Any skill in IT, if you have a strong depth, you are most likely you will get into IT industry. Okay, they check for, okay, this person knows the basics of this particular language and he has a good depth, they will select you. Communication is all secondary, they'll just see how confident you are, even though if your vocabulary or proficiency is less, they'll check your confidence level. Then honestly they will check. Because most of the candidates where it goes wrong is, I have been part of many interview panels, they answer some questions very well. Okay. So some technology they put it in their resume. I know this, I know that, all those things. And there is a serious requirement for that in our project. So as a recruiter, I will check, oh, I was looking for some Java developer, this guy is put advanced Java, so I want to take it. So when I start asking him question, he would have read some question and answers in the internet, but he definitely don't have any experience, hands-on experience or project experience. So then he starts answering everything wrongly. Okay, then means my psychology automatically changes. Okay, this guy is kind of a dishonest person. He just is a fake profile, he is faking. So even though he has answered other questions well, I might be thinking, okay, that question also he is just answering from internet. He has not worked on those things. We will not select him. Okay, so if you are going to interviews, if you don't know something, you say don't know. Don't try to answer something and even whatever good things you have done in the interview, the complete perception will change. If you are trying to like build a fake profile or you're trying to artificially say you don't know. You don't know, that's it. Okay. So you don't think like, okay, the recruiter doesn't, the interviewer doesn't know all these things. It's all like human psychology. They have done many interviews. They can easily identify who has definitely done hands-on programming and who is like just like taking the profile. Okay. So communication, you have to be very confident, you have to be very clear. That is the key thing. And aptitude, I covered it in detail. Okay. I think that is it pretty much. So next so we'll give some time for Q&A. We have some time. So I think that is it pretty much. I had. But one thing I would advise all of you is, see now time. So I was a Unix and C developer, but after I got into Infosys, they told me there is a big Java project going on. You have to be part of it. I don't know anything about Java. Okay, so they gave me a 5 days training in Java. Because all these big companies, they have their own university inside the company. So that is why they take electrical engineer, chemical engineer, mechanical engineer, anybody, they check the aptitude. And then after they train them for 3 months. It is extensive, it is tougher than like college, like final exams, how you prepare the final semester, it is tougher than that. You have to learn many things, advanced concepts, and it will be stressful 3 months. So that is why they mold you. And then they train you in different technologies. But I was, even in Infosys, after I got selected, they trained me in VB.NET. But the first project was Java project. They gave 5 days crash course. And then what we used to do, we used to go to the library, the big book, Java complete version, we keep it in our desk. And then whatever related Java technology book, we used to read. And then we used to like do programming using that. So nowadays you have everything in your hand, in your mobile. You can access any website, PDF, even Java complete references, you can have it as a PDF. But what I suggest you is, you have to use the technology to the fullest these days. You have Wikipedia, you have Google for everything. Use technology for your usefulness in career. Okay, because I am a programmer, but right now, if there is a crisis in infrastructure, I go and attend those calls with the infrastructure team. I used to give my input. How did I develop my infrastructure knowledge? The same passion. I was an electrical engineer, but I studied C. So anything you hear new in IT industry, you just look up in Google or Wikipedia and try to understand it. So I told about CI/CD, I told about CODS, I told about Agile, I told about faster time to market. What is the internet socket? What is the content delivery network? What is cloud? So anything you hear something new, you have to try to understand. First time you will not understand, but at least you make an attempt. This is all like slowly you will build, you have to build day by day. Overnight, you cannot become successful or knowledgeable person. So this is one point I wanted to share. Use technology to your benefit. Everything is available in the internet. Even I was thinking, okay, I will share some books for Java technology, for .NET technology. But nowadays, all the tutorial is online. Okay, you want Java tutorial, Oracle themselves are publishing tutorial. They will just click and read. You don't even need a book. Any technology, they are publishing the tutorial online. So you have a mobile or you have a computer. So technology, you have to make use of it. So in summary, whatever something new you hear about it, try to understand it. So in IT industry, yeah, so these are the points. Okay, I think I have covered it. So continuous learning, there is no end. You ask your professors, you ask your principal. Even these days they learn whatever is new technology coming, they learn about it. Hands-on is very important because, like I covered in the initial part of the session, like a language, you write and read, but you cannot, with that you cannot speak. So the same applies to computer languages. You read about it, you score marks, but unless and until you do programming in a computer, hands-on programming, you will not be up to the speed. Okay? And predictability and efficiency. So let's say I joined a company, there is a requirement. I say I will complete it in 2 weeks. Then my manager comes back to me and asks, is your work completed? Then I said, no, I need 1 more week. Then he comes back after 1 more week, you say I need 2 more days. It means your manager loses trust on you. If you are given 2 weeks commitment, I will complete this development in 2 weeks, you have to do. And then quality delivery means it will have less defects. That depends on how good you are in programming. And grabbing opportunities. This is very, very important in any industry. Okay. So for example, there is a complex module to develop. Many developers say, no, I have this thing to do, I have that thing to do. But there are some guys who will say, sir, I will do this project. Okay. So these are the opportunities. Whenever the team is in trouble, whoever is coming and rescuing them, they grow. Okay. So this is one example I was telling. I was sent to London in 1.5 years. It is very rare in IT industry. What happened is that time 4 of my seniors quit the company. So I was like 1.5 years old in the company. My mentors quit the company after the project first go live. Then they were looking for seniors. Then I thought, I know this application. I can support it. I can maintain it. So I was doing it for a few months. Then my UK team said, okay, this guy is very junior, but he is very good. Let's bring him to London. That is how I grabbed the opportunity. So whenever you go into the IT industry, you don't think, okay, I will limit my scope only to this. Where you will get visibility in IT industry is when the team is in trouble, you go and support and try to rescue them. That is how you grow. That is not only to get visibility, you also learn. The more and more challenges you address, you learn. Okay? Then soft skills I was telling. You have to be a good listener. If somebody is talking, you should not go and break in between. It means you are not willing to listen. You want to just give your opinion. You have to listen to others' opinion also. That's very, very important in IT industry. And critical thinking and leadership qualities. For example, what different kind of solution I can give for a problem. You have to think. You just should not think one way. That is critical thinking. Leadership. Let's say I have an escalation. Client escalates on my team. I take the blame. I don't go and tell, oh, my developer only did the mistake. You just bash him. I don't do that. That is the quality of a true leader. If you are managing a team, if there is a failure, you take the blame. If there is success, you pass it on to the team. That is the quality of a good leader. Then adaptability. So today you are working in Java and suddenly you are asked to work in HTML. You have to be flexible to work on different technologies. That is very, very important in IT industry. And teamwork. You should avoid conflict with your team. You should not fight with other people. Then your reputation was got lost. So these are something very important. This is like after you join a company, you have to take care of these qualities so that you can excel. Okay, so I think I've pretty much covered whatever I wanted to say. So now this is an open forum. I think the mic can be paused at you. If you have some questions, you can ask me. I'll try to answer. It's a very, very short time period. I would love to talk to some over 3 hours, but it's okay.
Students, any doubts you want to clarify?
Yeah, anything.
Not only regarding what he has shared, other than that, anything else related to your career? Yes, don't talk among yourself. Have any queries you can question.
Yeah, if you thought you need a mentor to ask some questions, you can use this opportunity. If I don't know the answer, I will try to get the answer to Sharmadoli ma'am. You don't have any questions, right? You're all confident.
Yes?
I'll ask a question. So BSc computer science, so this lab they use for programming, right? And what is the, this is for my understanding as well. As I said, I don't know the curriculum. So what are the programming languages you guys are learning now? Java. Python. So Java and .NET are mostly widely used in most of the online web platforms. If you're learning that is very good. So again, I repeat, do a lot of hands-on programming. Because why businesses are going for Java is there are a lot of open source softwares in Java. Nowadays, you don't even have to code. It's like there are a lot of plugins for different things. So don't only learn core Java, learn advanced Java and see what are the open source tools as well in Java. Because many open source solutions are not built in Java. And Python, I was talking about artificial intelligence, right? I think Python has a good applicability in artificial intelligence. That is also one thing in demand. And the Java programs, how do you run it? You can command prompt or you build Java applications. Some applications you build, like an online portal you build. Command prompt. So what I understand is you write a program, you will build a Java file using command prompt, and then you will run it as Java-based programming. You will see if you give an input, you get an expected output. But typically, so that is a jar file. It is called Java archive. It only has Java files. But typically, all these applications, they are deployed as EAR, Enterprise Archive. If you look at inside it, it will have jar files, it will have WAR files, web archive, all your web resources, HTML, JSPs will be there inside that. So you are working on only the service layer. But typically, any web application is deployed as a EAR file, which inside it will contain WAR file and jar files. You have to learn about all these things. Okay, so Python and database, what do you learn? Okay, so Oracle is pretty much standard. And in Europe, what is happening is, the problem with Oracle is their license costs are very heavy these days. So anything you buy from them, it's very expensive. And in Europe, they have taken a decision to move to MongoDB. Oracle is a relational database. So yes, you fire some SQL queries. But have you heard about NoSQL DBs? NoSQL DBs? It means you don't run SQL on that DB. Like MongoDB is gaining a lot of attention. That is also an emerging technology. It uses something, it doesn't have a relational database model. It has a document database model. Every record is stored in JSON format. You know JSON format? So key value pair is stored. So if there is a record for customer, it will have one JSON, it will have 100 attributes. There is no parent table, there is no child table, there is no parent key, foreign key, nothing. Like one user, your complete profile will be in one document. This is one emerging technology. NoSQL DBs are also getting a lot of attention, and that is used in data science, business intelligence, a lot of areas there. And UI library, what you are comfortable with. So JavaScript libraries, you are learning plain JavaScript or things like Angular, Node.js.
This semester they are going to learn JavaScript.
JavaScript. So that's why you need to have the breadth. Okay. See, the universities and colleges, your professors will try to teach you as much best as possible, but everything is completely in your hands. Hands-on programming, that is what will help you. Your marks, reading will not help you for sure. But for freshers, okay, little bit they will not go hands-on, but if they know you have the depth, you on your own self-interest, you have a good depth by your hands-on programming, that is where you're most likely to succeed.
This semester semester they are going to have a mini project. So each one will be choosing a topic and they are going to develop a mini project in the period of 2 to 3 years. So students, do you have any doubts regarding that? So still they are going to select the topic. A few of them have selected the topic and content and backend, and they are about to design the only in the initial stage they were. Only work on the days they will be studying.
What I remember is also Java. The Java programming language itself, they launched web application. You go to internet, they will teach you how to build a web application. I forgot the application name. It's called like something Parrot or something. It will explain all the basic concepts. So now Java, Artless bought Java. Previously Java was a separate organization, but Oracle bought Java a few years back. Okay, so you have to check in Oracle website how to build a. So for your college, if you are doing a project, you try to, mostly we go for web applications or the things.
Is this session was useful? Yes. So the first part, what he has shared is what I want him to share here. Because in our college, whenever we meet the students and ask about them, they used to say more drawbacks in the atmosphere where they are. My parents are not educated. I'm in this locality. How can I speak English? My communication, I'm not able to improve the communication. I don't have the system at home. How can I do my programs at home, and how can I develop the programming skill? So these things, I think most of the students, they feel that they don't have. So that's what I asked him to share. Because we people came under that circumference. We all had that situation. We don't had anyone like this, the career guidance program, we don't had during our period. So we people came to know from our friends, relatives and nearby people, and we took our courses, we chose our degrees, and then we developed our skills. We used the resource which we got, which is not available, we don't care. We just use the resources which we came by the way, and that is why we are in this position now. Yes. So now it's time to thank our management, our principal ma'am, for making this career guidance program for our department, and I thank the resource person for spending this most valuable time, because he is in India for a very short period. Only for 3 weeks he has been here. So last Tuesday only he came back from a client meeting from Bangalore. So in spite of his busy schedule, he prepared this PPT in a day, within a day, and he has spent his valuable time with us. So thank you very much.
Normally when we go for education,
Like Shanmugavali ma'am said, 20 years back, I was like, we were like you. We were like thinking, what is our future going to be? So we thought it's better, like now it's 20 years, we share our experience so that you learn from the people who are in the industry. So definitely like some bits and pieces might clarify few things for you, which might help you. So this is not like a training program, this is like from industry, how industry is evolving, what employers are looking at, I wanted to share so that you can focus. And as a recruiter, what interviewers, what aspects they see in you in the interview panel, I wanted to share.